Let's get to some health news now. Today, the FDA is officially banning red dye number 3 from all U.S. foods and drinks. So it's a synthetic dye that gives items that bright red cherry color, but it's also linked to cancer in animals.
Yeah, food manufacturers have until January 15th, 2027 to reformulate their products. Julie Zampano, a registered dietitian with the Cleveland Clinic Center for Human Nutrition, joins us now for more insight on this. Julia, a very appropriate red top for as we talk about red dye number 3. So let's talk about some of the risks that the dye poses.
Sure. So we know that there's some risk in animal studies to increase risk of cancer. Some studies have preliminary showed that it could lead to some hyperactivity in children, but the biggest risk is that cancer risk shown with animals.
Can you give us an idea of how common it is? Like how many foods actually have this?
Over 9,000 foods contain this dye.
Wow.
So it is really found in so many foods, hidden in things that we wouldn't think it could be found in. So it's very important to read labels and be aware of food dyes in general, but this one specifically, I'm very excited about the fact that it's being banned. I'm hoping that this amongst other food dyes will be banned because there are no health benefits to these dyes.
Yeah, and other countries have banned this dye as well. So,
yes.
What it could be used to replace it then?
Sure, so they could still use some synthetic dyes, but ideally what we're hoping that they'll use are fruit and vegetable extracts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, if people want to start sort of getting rid of that right now, what's your recommendation for them?
Reading labels, looking at the ingredients. So looking at the ingredients, making sure that the red dye is not being listed, and looking for foods that are colored with fruit and vegetable extracts.
Yeah, I mean, you see this dye in everything, like you said, candies, cereals.
So many things.
A lot of things that kids eat. And then you start to wonder, okay, it wasn't the sugar that made the kids hyperactive. Maybe it was a red dye in all the candy that they were eating, right?
Right. So it's a matter of screening each specific child if it is, the hyperactivity piece that you're really looking to resolve. There's no harm in eliminating red dye. Obviously, we're going to hopefully consume more fresh fruits and vegetables or fresh foods if we're starting to reduce some of these processed foods that the red dye is in. But the cancer risk is really the biggest concern. So we really want to just overall create more of a healthy environment and healthy foods to be available for the American people. And I think this is a great step.
Yeah, natural foods, natural colors.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
Okay, yeah, Julie Zampano, a registered dietitian from Cleveland Clinic. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks.